Hello friends, and welcome to the tutorial. Today we are going to be drawing a warrior using the Picasso Tab and Sketchbook Pro. Let's begin. I began on a new layer, picked a dark grey colour and the pencil tool. I am starting with the warrior's face and I drew in a rough circle. In the middle of the circle I added in a straight line coming down and then used that as a guide to draw in the chin at the bottom of the line and the jaw on either side. I then added in the ears and a set of horizontal guidelines for the eyes. With the basic shape face in, I then drew the neck and the scarf that he's wearing, then drawing the shoulders coming out from either side of the scarf. From there, I added in a long rectangle which will serve as the base for his main body. I drew in some rough guidelines for his legs and arms and then added in the sword. At this stage, it's a good idea to keep all the sketch to rough outlines so that you can see how the proportions are coming along and can easily adjust the outlines if necessary. It's important to also zoom in and out as you work, so you can check how the image as a whole is looking. This is especially useful to check the proportions of different parts of the drawing, such as how the head and the main body are looking. Once I was happy with how the sketch looked, I zoomed in and started to build up the sketch, adding in details. I began this process with one of the arms, drawing in the armour plates, and then the hand clasped around the sword. I like to clean up the sketch as I go, and so I will erase guidelines and generally try to keep the sketch neat as it makes it easier to trace later on. I moved on to work on the other arm, drawing in the armour and the hand, and then added in the plates of armour onto his main body section. I also drew in a belt and a couple of accessories. You can go in and create as many little details as you would like. Once the main body was completed, I moved back up to the face. Using the centre line as my guide, I drew in 2 lines for his nose and then added in his mouth. I placed the eyes in the eye guidelines and then drew in eyebrows on top. Just above the eyebrows, I drew in his bandana scarf and then worked on his spiky hair and added in some stubble onto his chin. With that, the sketch was complete. To outline, I put the opacity of the sketch layer down, locked the layer, and then created a new layer for the outlines. I am using the fountain pen with the predictive stroke tool turned on. The predictive stroke tool helps to keep the lines smooth. From there, I simply started tracing the sketch. I like to zoom in and out and rotate the canvas so I always have a comfortable angle to draw in the lines. Now time to move on to the colouring. To start, I duplicated the outlines layer and then locked down the top layer. This prevents me from accidentally working in it as I'm colouring. In the bottom outline layer, I used the paint bucket tool to simply fill in the drawing with different colours. This is a quick and easy method of adding in all the base colours to a drawing. For his armour, I chose a combination of red, grey and turquoise. I used a light beige colour for some of his accessories and for the sword's outer casing. I used black and dark grey for his hair and then filled in the white parts of the eyes using the fountain pen. To add some extra depth and dimension, I added in shadows and highlights on a new layer using the fountain pen. I picked a darker colour for the shadows and a lighter one for highlights, working in a block colouring style, drawing in thick lines where I wanted shadows or highlights to sit. On the face, for example, this would be in places such as above the eyes, on the end of the nose and under the chin for shadows, and then around the jawline and on the tip of the nose for highlight lines. I used the same process to add in details to the rest of the drawing. The last step was to add in a background. For this, I created a new layer, then added in a yellow square box behind him. Make sure the background is placed below all of the others on the layers list to achieve this effect. I used the shape tool to add in 3 dark grey squares on top of the background, and then added in white rectangles on top of the yellow to make a pattern. Finally, I drew a white outline around him and the warrior is now complete. I hope you enjoyed drawing our brave warrior today. Thank you for watching.